So, a couple of hours ago, I put a poll up on the community tab on YouTube asking people if there was one player to leave this summer between Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo, which one would you pick? Over 1,000 people have voted on that poll. It is quite relevant right now because we've got a big update coming from David Ornstein on what is happening with the futures of both Garnacho and Mainoo, amongst updates on Cunha from Fabrizio Romano and Manchester United about to trigger another release clause. There's so much packed into this live show. But on that poll, quickly, before I get into welcome to Forever United TV and all that jazz for the live show, yeah, upset a few people with it for some strange reason, but over 1,000 votes on and 89% going one way. We'll talk about that and we'll get into the details of it. I'm not afraid to really be honest and upset a few people. As you all know, this is Forever United TV. I'm just going to say it straight and right down the camera to you all, as I always do. Welcome to the show. Get your comments in the live section, people. And obviously, give me your raw, honest opinions as well back. That's what we like. That's what we're all about here on Forever United TV. And I think a lot of people did put a comment on that poll earlier on as well, not really liking it. Kind of trying to push the sort of angle on me as to making a bit of an agenda against Garnacho. Look, David Ornstein's talking about it, so why are we not talking about it? And the headline is going right across the bottom of your screen there about Alejandro Garnacho, and what he is saying is highly possible that Garnacho leaves Manchester United this summer. I did this video last night, and all of a sudden people are talking about it. I've seen aggregator accounts on X talking and doing exactly the same poll as I did. All of a sudden, now everyone is talking about Garnacho and what's happening with him. So let's get into this conversation and let's get it going in the live chat, everyone, as well. So please get involved in that. That's all I want from you, just opinions. Let's get on with the show and get talking about what is going down this afternoon, because the man himself, well actually, the men, we should say, Romano and Ornstein have been very, very vocal over the last 2 days regarding Manchester United in particular. It was funny listening to Sky earlier on talking about what's happening with Matheus Cunha. Obviously, Sky can't be as, I think, deep as these other journalists can these days. I think Sky's lost some of its kind of transfer appeal. Everyone goes to social media. Everyone goes to the journalists in the know. The people at Sky actually hire to come on and tell them, we already know what is happening. And when we look at what's actually happening right now, when we look at the Cunha situation, I did a video earlier on. Thank you for watching and commenting on that video, everybody, by the way. But the update from that was that Brazilian media are reporting that the personal terms are done with Matheus Cunha. United have got this deal signed up. Now, I'm pretty certain that it isn't completely done, because we would obviously know about it from bigger names and bigger journalists like we're talking about now, Romano, Ornstein and everybody else. But Sky, in their roundup of that, actually just said that Manchester United have not yet signed the Brazilian forward from Wolves, Matheus Cunha, but I'm sure that them Brazilian journalists and media have some very creditable sources themselves. I'm like, geez, can you get off the fence and actually they're not going anywhere. I know they're not, but you can see what this has caused and the stir that it has caused around Manchester United, with so many different journalists coming in on certain stories around Manchester United. I want to start with Ornstein's on the outgoing situation at Manchester United before we move on to Romano and what he has said, and then some other bigger news for Manchester United on top of that. So stay tuned and keep commenting. We will get to as many comments as I can. We will get to as many as I can. Didn't sound right then. I will get to as many as I can as we go through the show, obviously, of course. We've got plenty of time to run back on normal schedule tonight, finally. Again, thank you for staying with me over the last couple of days. It's been a bit chaotic, but Ornstein has said, and I'm sure you've seen it, there was a Q&A, lots of different questions thrown at him, and the interesting ones we already knew about from last night. We talked about this morning on Cunha and the incoming side of things. The situation is developing regarding Liam Delap. We're going to talk about that. He also opens up, and I'll start with this. Ornstein, quickly, before we get into the United players, said the reasoning behind Manchester United not pursuing Victor Osimhen, and not just Manchester United, it was a host of Premier League clubs. And the word is around these Premier League clubs from David Ornstein that Victor Osimhen actually was just demanding too much. His wages were too high. So where the reports came from Italy regarding Manchester United and the agreement on wages, I don't know. It all looks now like Osimhen's heading towards the Saudi Pro League. That looks like the best bet for him, although Juventus apparently have bid high as well. But hey, look, they're used to playing someone like Vajovic over 400 grand a week, so maybe Osimhen will go there. I can't see Napoli wanting to sell him to Juventus, but hey, look, it's down to them now. United are not in, and we're looking at Delap. But Manchester United, past that, he's talking there, David Ornstein, about players that could be leaving Manchester United, and the players in question are all the younger players at Manchester United, the so-called ones that have got a little bit of value to them. And Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo brought up in the conversation. The word is that Kobbie Mainoo looks like he's going to sign a contract. These are the words from David Ornstein. The word around United is that Kobbie looks like he's very, very close to signing a new deal and committing his future to Manchester United. So I think we're all happy that that is happening. Kobbie's come back a bit between his teeth. He looks fresher, he looks meaner, he actually looks a bit thicker and stronger as well, filling out now as a young 20-year-old man. Obviously his teenage years are over, so yeah, future looks bright for Kobbie Mainoo and Manchester United. It looks like he's going to sign that deal. But if the right offer came in and that deal was not signed, then you've got to basically look at Kobbie Mainoo as another player that could be leaving Manchester United. And the word from Ornstein basically is, it is on Manchester United letting anybody go if they get the right offer in. If they are looking at offers coming in the region that they like the look of, then they will go. The players will go. But they have got players that are unsellable right now. And the word, like Ornstein said, is that Kobbie is only up for sale if he doesn't agree to this new contract, but it looks like it's coming close. So that is Kobbie Mainoo in that situation, which is why probably most people in the poll that I put up earlier on have gone with Garnacho as the player that they would let go. Garnacho has come under a lot of criticism. He's working hard and he's putting the shift in. He really is. I've been there, I've sat in the stands, I've seen his work rate go through the roof. At the end of the day, it's down to quality and some big decisions need to be made. And like what Ornstein says there, Manchester United, if the right offer comes in and the right offer's there for Garnacho as well, then it's highly possible that Garnacho leaves Manchester United. In fact, United are not afraid to sell any player at all this summer. There isn't one player that they're afraid of moving on. Obviously, you've got the players that have just arrived, the Amads and the Brunos that have just signed new contracts. You're not going to be getting rid of any of them. But anybody that was bought over the last 3 years at Manchester United all fall into the realms of time's up, time to move them on. He talked about Victor Lindelof and Eriksen's wages coming off the book, Johnny Evans and Heaton's on top of that, Casemiro leaving, Rashford, Sancho, Antony all leaving this summer. He basically is just preparing us for an absolute avalanche of activity when it comes to Manchester United's transfer window. Now, the interesting bit he said about Garnacho as well was that this, without even questioning it, without even thinking about it, it was a straightforward yes. Garnacho can leave Manchester United. I think we've known this all along. I've talked about it, and I've talked about the reasoning behind it continuously. And I think Ornstein has pretty much said exactly the same thing there. He's just talking about the obvious situation that Manchester United are in financially. And this, I think, is where a lot of fans now are looking at it and going, this actually is real now. But Manchester United are genuine in what they are doing this summer. The fact that he came out last night and said that United don't need to sell players, and the fact that we're not in Europe doesn't mean that players are not going to come to Manchester United. They know who their targets are, and they know who they want to get rid of. And they're just going to go at it as quickly and as professionally as they possibly can. Speed is of most importance for Manchester United in backing Ruben Amorim, is the word coming out right now. And that, I think, is key in all of this, because we have got a chance of getting ahead of certain teams who are after our targets if we bid for them in June. Now, Newcastle have just come in for Liam Delap. Liam Delap is not going to decide on his future just yet before the season ends, but he will let the club know that he is going to. He will let the clubs know where he's going to be moving before the under-21s, the Euro under-21s tournaments, the tournament that England actually hold the title for. Liam Delap will have made his decision before then. That's from Ornstein, so it's not far away. And Manchester United are going to find out very, very soon I feel, about Liam Delap. We've said this already. Newcastle now have thrown their name into the hats. The Telegraph's journalist on covering the North East side for the Telegraph is saying that Newcastle are 100% in for Liam Delap as well. You've got Chelsea as well that is very, very, very interested in Liam Delap. United apparently have offered the better package, as we know, but obviously there is the European factor. And this, I think, is exactly where Manchester United are at right now. And it is a little bit dependent on the Europa League. Now, the video that I did earlier on today on Matheus Cunha, pretty much a done deal for Manchester United. This deal, I don't think anybody's looking at this and saying that Manchester United are struggling or they're not going to get this deal done at all. It's basically looking at Matheus Cunha right now as a done deal. He is more than happy at Manchester United. Going to bring you another piece on that in a minute as well. But in that piece I was talking about Manchester United, obviously, from what Ornstein said last night, could they stay with what they've got if they don't sign Liam Delap? And there is a chance that United won't get Delap. There's no guarantees. That's who they want, but they know that they're up against a whole host of Premier League clubs, and he will stay in the Premier League. It just depends where he wants to go. United's Europa League campaign is going to play a big part in determining where Delap actually goes, because I think he wants to go to United, but he wants European football, and this is starting to come about more and more, even though Ornstein has said that European football isn't necessarily going to determine who Manchester United buy in the summer, and I think that's where we're at with it. So when you look at Delap, it's a bit of a concern, but then he's also said regarding Rasmus Højlund that is another plausible player, that could a plausible deal with a player leaving Manchester United. And he can actually see it happening. It's quite scary to think that we are going to be going into the season with Rasmus Højlund. And I made that point earlier on. Osimhen is gone. Cunha is definitely coming in. And we've only got the hope of Liam Delap as another forward coming in right now. There's a whole transfer window to go, obviously, and we are still waiting to see exactly what happens. Well, we've got lots of time in the transfer windows to get through, obviously, haven't we? But in terms of Liam Delap, I'm not fully confident, I'm really not. I like the fact that we've pinpointed our targets, but listening to what's been said today, listening to everything else that's going on, and Ornstein himself and Romano and what he said, I'm not fully confident that Delap is going to come to Manchester United. And then you look at that past that and you go, well, who is going to be United striker then? Because we cannot continue with Rasmus Højlund. I don't know, and I said in my video earlier on that maybe Cunha is adding extra goals to United and they can see that, and maybe that's going to improve Rasmus Højlund. I would not be banking on that at all, and that would be a huge mistake for Manchester United. A monumental mistake, to be honest. Quickly, the actual extract from Ornstein on the Osimhen situation, this is exactly what he said. The feeling among most Premier League clubs that have looked into the possibility seems to be that the salary expectations are difficult to meet, and he is perhaps not the player/character they are looking for. That from Ornstein and what he said around Victor Osimhen. So yeah, it is all based on what Manchester United and other Premier League clubs need, and there is a lot of Premier League clubs needing a striker, but I think they're all scared right now because of these wages and because of PSR and everything that's now going on in the world of the transfer markets, that not everybody's going to jump to the necessary 100% guarantee. I mean, Osimhen brings you a lot. He does. But maybe the clubs are looking at this in a different way and they're thinking a bit sensibler, in a more sensible way in terms of the actual structure and how much is going to cost as a full package. So, yeah, that's pretty much the whole general sort of kickstart to the show and what Manchester United are up against in terms of Delap, where we're at with Cunha. More on Cunha in a moment from Romano. But first of all, let's get into the comment section on Garnacho. Let's get in there on to, obviously, Kobbie Mainoo as well. I'm going to kickstart everything off with a couple of super chats in from a couple of legends in the chat. First of all, we've got one from Wayne. It says, If this happens, have a buyback clause and get him, Garnacho that means, back when he has matured and turned into an absolute machine. It shouldn't be happening, I think he's saying there. Well, Wayne, I kind of look at it and go, I'm backing Ruben over Garnacho right now. We need a man that's going to get the most out of everybody and not just one. We can't wait for Garnacho to work. In a perfect world, we may have been able to give Garnacho a bit more time. But we can't. We're stuck in a really difficult situation brought on by poor management previous years for Manchester United, as we know. And that's why we're having to look into these deals that we don't really want to be doing. And that's where we're at, really, with it, I think, mate. But yeah, I think United will be sensible and they will obviously look into the buyback as well. And maybe even a sell-on with Garnacho because he could be worth a lot in the future. Thank you for the gifted membership, London. Again, nearly every single show doing that. You absolute legend. Another legend in the chat there, Modern Samurai with the super chat. Thank you. But he says, hope everyone is doing okay. Adam out, Kaz in, FUTV. Good news on the horizon. Hopefully, all these signings come in. Nice to have some good news after this season of disappointments. Season's not over yet, mate. Hopefully, we've got a few good bits to come from the season, i.e. that Europa League semi-final against Bilbao. But cheers for the super, buddy. Raw's in, as always, another super chat. Thank you, mate. Can you go over the depth at the 10s and the 8s? If Cunha and, fingers crossed, Ederson come in this summer, I am having a hard time finding starting spots for Kobe and Garnacho. Well, there you go. In terms of what Manchester United have got when Cunha comes in, I think Kobe Mainoo slides into that number 10 position as well. So, if United bring in Cunha, obviously your number 10 straight away there. Cunha himself, you've got Ahmad, you've got Mount, so there's 3. I think you've got Xerxes, there's 4. You've got Mainoo, there's 5. Obviously, you've got Bruno Fernandes, who naturally plays in that role as well. So there's 6. Half a dozen without Garnacho, I feel. Did I get that right then? Cunha, Bruno, Ahmad, Mount, Xerxes, and who was the other one there? Xerxes, Ahmad, Mainoo. I said that, didn't I? Yeah, that's right. 6. So 6 10s. That's if United bring in the 8, obviously, to replace Bruno in that position. If United do go out and get Ederson, this was what we were talking about earlier on. Now, Ornstein mentioned that Manchester United could use them funds elsewhere to bring in a player in a different position and not change the striker if the right striker that they wanted wasn't available. So they could use the funds for Delap and maybe go and buy Ederson. Now, I don't know his situation yet. There isn't enough information out about it. Just to talk that United are still interested, but obviously there is a bit to go yet, and he could be later into the window. So it's all going to be determined, I think, the latter stage of the window on what Man United do in June. If we get a striker, then obviously the funds for every other position that we need this summer in the transfer market are going to be off the likes of Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony, Casemiro, wages from Lindelof, Eriksson, Evans, Heaton, all of these players. That's how Manchester United are making money right now. And if they sell Rasmus Højlund or even Andre Onana to that matter, then Manchester United obviously would look to bring in players in key positions. But yeah, I think that covered it there, Ross, mate. Thank you for the super chat, my man. But yeah, I think looking at it, I'm just reading into a few more comments here. Carl's in there. If you get Ederson and Cunha, for me, it's where do you play Bruno? I'd rather have Ahmad and Mount or Mainoo as 10s and Agate and Ederson as 6s. Yeah, Bruno still plays, mate. I think he still has to play, to be honest, because he's got the numbers that back it up. He's got the creativity. I think ultimately Bruno is probably the best of the false bleeding 9 at this point. If you don't bring a forward in, you might as well stick Bruno up front. He'll do a better job than Rasmus Højlund will. I get what you're saying, though. It's difficult to figure out where you slot Bruno back in. Or where you find room for a few players, to be honest. It's going to be a tough old decision. And this is why I think the likes of Garnacho will go. Because there's no room for him when everyone's fit. Five gifted memberships from Modern Samurai as well. Legend, thank you very much, mates. Absolutely loved that. Great contributions again. If anyone has got one of them memberships, please make sure you drop a thank you for Modern in the chat, please, everyone. Right, wanted to move on to Matheus Cunha and the update, because I've got personal messages coming through which I'm going to read out right now on what is going on. And of course, we've heard from Romano. Now, Romano's been drowned out a little bit because of what Ornstein has been saying today. And that's where the social media circles have been sort of really looking at everything that's going on. So, I was going to play you a little clip from Romano with the update on Matheus Cunha, so you know exactly. And this is literally from the last day, so it's fully updated. This is Fabrizio Romano right now on what he is saying regarding the Matheus Cunha situation.
Guys, let's touch a bit on another story of the week. Matheus Cunha, an important story from a few days ago. I was telling you how Manchester United are working on this deal. What I can add to you today is that Manchester United have planned for new contacts very soon. So this is not going to be, as I told you in the video Monday, this is not going to be a story for end of July, August, a long saga. Man United want to do it as soon as possible, want to anticipate Newcastle and all the other clubs interested in Matheus Cunha. So Man United will have a new round of talks very soon and will try to get this deal done with Matheus Cunha. After a very positive feeling with the player, the conversation was very good. Ruben Amorim wants him, Matheus Cunha is keen on the move, the Champions League is not a deal breaker, so all the things are going in the right way. Man United are also prepared to pay the close value, £62.5 million, to Wolverhampton, but in installments. So they will try to discuss with Wolverhampton something like, okay, instead of paying in 1 year, in 2 years, can we pay in multiple years? This is something quite normal in football in general, not just in England, not just for Man United and Wolves. So it's part of the game when it's about financial fair play, but still paying that money. So Man United on their way to sign Matheus Cunha, because Man United feel that the player wants to make this move. Man United feel that Matheus Cunha is keen on joining them, is excited about this opportunity. There is a great feeling, as I told you on Monday, between Man United and Cunha, and so new round of talks coming soon to get this deal in the final stages, to get this deal done, and to come here with a here we go. It's something really, really possible soon.
Right there, you heard it. There could be a here we go around the corner from Fabrizio Romano. Everything moving on very, very quickly. New round of talks already scheduled in very, very soon. On top of that, this is what I was just told earlier on today. This was sent to me. Apparently, Cunha is very close. United aren't worried about the player's side. Personal terms could be agreed as soon as next week. Barada and co have meetings this weekend and next week. Could be done as soon as we finish the Europa or sooner. I think if we win the Europa, deal.LIVE will want to come, so then 2 before June 1st is possible. So even before the window opens, United could have pre-contract agreements in place and signed, sealed, delivered. This would be Manchester United moving at an incredibly quick rate, and everything that is happening right now. There is just an update come in. Roz was just asking me about EDERSON and if we brought in a number 8. Now this has just come out from Fabrizio Romano again. Manchester United have discussed EDERSON during a meeting with club directors and Ruben Amorim. United made contact with the players' camp a few months ago to show their interest. He is seen as one of the ideal midfield candidates. So Romano now himself, this has just come out now regarding EDERSON. It's exciting news if it is EDERSON. Honestly, this would be probably, I think, more exciting than a Matheus Cunha signing. This is how much I rate EDERSON and what I've watched of him and how influential this man is. Honestly, if you haven't watched him, you can be forgiven for not getting too excited about this signing. But trust me when I say this, EDERSON at United, game changer and some. That's exactly what that is. And that is just right out of Romano now. In the last 10 minutes, Romano has said, Manchester United have discussed EDERSON during a meeting with club directors and Ruben Amorim. United made contact with the players' camp a few months ago to show their interest. He is seen as one of the ideal midfield candidates. Please make that be true. As a United fan right now, my professionalism goes out the window and I would just jump around this room. Might hit my head on the roof, but I would be very, very excited, to say the least, if Manchester United were definitely in talks to sign EDERSON from Atalanta. That would be the absolute... I did a video on it yesterday. I'm sure you all watched it as well. But this is where Andre Tegui and EDERSON, Manchester United scouts at Atalanta, watching both players, we've already been scouting Ederson. We've already been interested in Ederson for over 2 years. So Manchester United, their relationship with Atalanta, everything that comes with that, obviously puts us in a position. But like I've just said there, Cunha is the first one. United will pay, like Romano said, the full 62 million. And obviously Romano said what I've been saying all along regarding the PSR cycle and everything that's going on. They want to pay it in installments. This is normal in football transfers. From the horse's mouth, you have to believe it now. It's not about the fee. It's about how much it costs a year for each player. So the payment on the transfer fee and the players' wages annually is all that matters when negotiating transfers these days. United can afford to pay for a £100 million player right now and still afford him through payments. So Cunha is not a problem. They can afford it and they can slip it in easily. Manchester United, in what we're saving in wages, like Ornstein has said, just on free agents leaving, is immense for this football club going forward. And this is mistakes from the past now starting to be cleared away from Manchester United moving forward properly as a football club in the transfer window. It's been embarrassing before, it really has. But now we are looking like a real outfit. So I'm going to get back into the comment section on everything there that we've just listened to on Romano. And obviously the news that is just dropping that Manchester United have actually already made contact with Ederson's agent and are looking to be in the reckoning when the season finishes for signing him. He's seen as one of the leading candidates to fill in that number 8 role at Manchester United. God, that's exciting. That really is. That is exactly where I want Manchester United to be. They're the type of players that United need to be looking at. They really are. They really are. Just over halfway through the show already. Wow, where the hell is the time going? Around 1,000 people in the room. Thank you, everybody. I know it's busy. I know there's a lot going on tonight as well. I just want to say a massive thank you again. Cheers for all over the 200 likes as well. If you're loving the content, give it a thumbs up, everyone. And obviously, hit the subscribe button as well to stay completely up to date with all of your Manchester United news here on Forever United TV. Moving on, let's get into some of these comments as well. Here we go. Ederson, you heard it here first. I'm not going to press that here we go button that we have here on FUTV until it is a here we go. But like Romano said there, the here we go on Cunha is only a matter of time. Is that why I got that? Definitely looking very positive. Look, Cunha loves United. Amorim loves Cunha. It's going to be a very, very interesting press conference for Ruben Amorim tomorrow, isn't it? I'm sure questions are going to be sort of aimed and directed down the transfer window road. 100% anyway. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. Do you think United will sign Delap? That's another poll we have got running right now. 68% of you have said yes. And it's like the message that I've just received there personally, directly to me. If United win the Europa League, Delap will come to United. That tells me that Delap's not confident or comfortable coming to United unless there's European football though. And I didn't think this was a problem going off what Ornstein said, but look, the environment and the situation is going to be forever evolving and moving around, I think. It's going to be a bit of a transfer merry-go-round. And it's going to be hard to judge certain stories. I think the only one we can be 100% behind at the moment, for definite, is the Matheus Cunha. That looks set in stone. And I think today's news has definitely given it an even harder push towards Manchester United. Rosen with another super chat. Thank you, buddy. Cunha and Bruno as the 10s. Ahmad at right wing back. Starter as a possibility this season. We aren't being linked with wing backs yet. Look, the wing back situation, as far as I know, from what I've been told and where United are looking, there is a big confidence in Manchester United's academy players coming through. Wing backs, let's not forget, we've bought Dorgu and Leon arrives in the summer. Manchester United will have 2 left wing backs available to them in the summer. 3 if you count Harry Amas. That's going to be interesting to see what develops with him and whether Amas is sold on by Manchester United. Very interesting. We may even see a loan for Harry Amas going into the new season. So let's see how that develops. But Leon is coming in. Dorgu is already there. On the right-hand side, obviously we're dealing with Dalot right now. He's better on the right, but still not fully ideal, I don't think. But there is the talk of Roger Fernandez being United's top target for right wing-back. That's the only one, really, that is standing out right now. That's supposedly around the 25 million mark. So that, Roger Fernandez, EDERSON, Joe Bellingham, Liam Delap, Matthias Cunha, they're your names that you can sort of really listen to stories about. There are other names which I'm going to go into in just a moment. And this at the start of the show is what I said in terms of Manchester United triggering another release clause. I'm going to get into that now. I am going to come and have a full-on section with the live chat just before we finish the show. Don't worry, we've got plenty of time yet, everybody. So keep your comments coming in and keep your conversations going in there as well, everyone. But yes, United are in fact not just looking at, obviously, Cunha and these other players. Now, it's when it comes to Manchester United's goalkeeping situation, just quickly, off last night, from what Ornstein said, Anana not seen to be top of the agenda goalkeeper. Not a number one goalkeeper anyway. But you would have seen the story regarding Manchester United looking at Freddie Woodman from Preston. Now that to me shouts out goalkeeping number 2. I honestly don't know what's wrong with Vitek. They mustn't like him at Manchester United. But quickly, just on that one, Manchester United are working on a deal to sign Preston North End goalkeeper Freddie Woodman on a free transfer. He would replace Tom Heaton, who is set to leave the club this summer. So, Freddie Woodman, because he's a free transfer. That's about it with the goalkeeping side of things. No other updates at all. Now, the interesting one is, and this is the one that everybody's getting a little bit excited about over in South America. We did a show the other morning, The Next Messi. Now, Franco Mastertuno is a 17-year-old going on to be 18 in August. Forward who is being dubbed the next Messi. Already playing in the Premier League in Argentina for River Plate. He is a starter at the age 17. He is quick, he's direct, he's dynamic, he is everything creation-wide that every single club would want, to a point where Barcelona and Real Madrid and Milan have all dropped out of the race because of his release clause of 38 million. We was talking about this the other morning. If you watch the shows, you will remember. Mastertuno is the next big thing. And everybody's saying the same thing about him. Everybody. And the fact that Real Madrid were wanting him, and Madrid cannot really afford to spend fortunes on players. They are in the market right now, clinging on and just getting into contracts of certain players like Trent and sort of like tapping them up a couple of years before the contracts end. Maybe 18 months or so. Just getting ahead of everybody else when it comes to players being available for free. That's their game at the moment. Look what they did with, obviously, the likes of Rudiger, what they did with Alaba, what they did with Mbappe. All of these players at Real Madrid that they bought for nothing and just letting these contracts run down. Yeah, they have to sign on fees and things like that and everything with the player and the agents, but this is how they're getting around PSR as well in terms of what's actually happening with transfer fees right now. And nobody's going near Mastertuno because River Plate slapped a new contract on him in 2024, which had a £38 million release clause into it. And now Manchester United, and this is the latest story, and this is coming from Fox Sports News. This is coming from Fox Sports Argentina, who have said that, and all South American reports this one, Manchester United want to trigger Franco Mastertuno's 38 million release clause. United intend to take him as soon as he turns 18 in August. Now, Argentina's season doesn't finish. The season doesn't finish in Argentina until December. So they have a different sort of, obviously, different southern hemisphere and everything like that. It starts and finishes at different times. So their season finishes in December. I think we could actually, I don't know how far down the line United are with this, whether or not they are serious about doing it. There has been a lot of reports on it, and I think the reason why Manchester United are right up there is because it seems, and I say seems, because this is all South American reporting at the moment. There has been a few more reports come out from European sources, a couple of British ones, the Daily Mail being one of them, and Simon Jones was talking about this, about Manchester United being one of the only clubs that wanted to pay that 38 million release clause for a player just 17. Turning 18, obviously, in August. I think this is how United have sort of got ahead a little bit here, because the other clubs are not willing to pay the release clause. Maybe United and their recruitment team, driven by Vivel and Wilcox, and we know we're going into the South American market. It's a market that we haven't really taken advantage of at Manchester United. But like I said, now we're a proper club, and now we're running like a proper football and recruitment structure. We're looking at these deals and going, right, how do we get ahead? We're not in the bigger competitions. We've fallen behind. How do we beat everybody else? We structure deals and actually pay clubs like River Plate, who obviously haven't got a lot of money compared to European clubs, in instalments. And you've got a player that could come in that could sign a 6-year deal on really cheap wages at Manchester United. And that is how Manchester United could probably get ahead of a few different clubs. But yes, that is the latest coming from South America on this one, in terms of Manchester United willing to pay the 38 million release clause for an 18-year-old. We'll see how that one develops, but that is the full updates on that one as well from Manchester United. So yes, regarding everything so far, it's looking good in a few different departments right now. It's a very positive evening tonight, isn't it? And I'm happy to be talking a little bit more upbeat. I'm happy to be talking in a way that Manchester United look like again. And you remember last summer, I was very, very positive around what Manchester United were doing. There were certain things that I didn't like about certain players at Manchester United that made my thoughts very, very clear on players that I needed out of the football club that I thought were bad. I can see the back end of it. I really can. It's no coincidence that you've got the likes of Sancho and Rashford out on loan, and they're the ones that we're looking at making money off this summer to fund this new rebuild. Garnacho at the top of the show. Look, I don't want it to happen. I'm going to be honest. I would rather Garnacho be an option for United next season, but I am fully aware of the need for Manchester United to back Ruben Amorim now. Otherwise, he will sink. We cannot rely on the likes of Rasmus Højlund. And if Manchester United need to spend a bit more on getting another striker, and it meant Garnacho going but Cunha coming in, and then you've got Bruno and Ahmad, and it helps us get the 8 in midfield as well, it pains me to say it. It does. But Garnacho has to go if that is the case. And like someone just said, then maybe we have a buyback. Maybe we have a sell-on clause. Maybe we make more money off Garnacho if he can go out and smash it somewhere else. But right now, he's just not going to feature next season. And that's without buying anyone. He's not going to be a starter. I'm sick of saying the same thing. I'm hoping I'm not boring everybody by saying that. But you know where I'm going with it. Everybody's thinking it. And everybody knows that he isn't going to start next season. As soon as Ahmad comes back, and if we buy an 8, Garnacho's gone. Garnacho is gone. I think personally as well, and the interesting thing with him again, in what Ornstein said, was if the deal for Manchester United and the fee for United works out well, and if it works out for Garnacho, he mentioned the player and the club. So it has to work for Garnacho. And I think United are only open to this because Garnacho, I think, has been open probably with the club himself and said, look, I want to be playing games. And if there is a possibility this summer that players are going to come in, take my spot, I'm going to be sat on the bench, then I would be open to a transfer away from Manchester United. I don't think he's ever going to come out and say that he wants to leave United. I think behind the scenes this has been dealt with the right way. And Garnacho has carried on playing for United, working harder, getting better under Amorim like he has done. His numbers have been a tiny bit better in recent weeks. He has contributed a lot to Manchester United, especially in the Europa League. And obviously, Ruben has backed him as well. But we're not stupid. We know that Ruben, behind the scenes, is thinking, I can't. Like, as much as I love these players and how much work they're putting in, you can't get the results. They're just not going to be able to do it. So we move past it. We do. Let's get into the comments anyway. Delat makes his own goals, attacks defences, dribbles through players and can create as well, says Modern Samurai. Garnacho isn't needed if we get Cunha. He doesn't fit. True. There's a worry Garnacho leaves. He will be a superstar elsewhere for another club. He's young, only 20. Yeah, so what? So you'd rather keep a player that's struggling to work in a system out of worrying that he might go and do it somewhere else. It doesn't work for Amorim. It doesn't work for us. Sometimes players will go and do better elsewhere. It's just that United's not the right fit. Sorry, move on. It's like Salah didn't work at Chelsea. De Bruyne didn't work at Chelsea. They went away. They became superstars. yes, you could say that the mismanagements of football clubs like Chelsea and going through as many players as they did really caused the problem there. But it just doesn't work for some players at clubs. It doesn't. And that, I feel, is proven in so many different cases. Look at Lukaku. Brilliant for him in Italy. In the Premier League, not so much. But what you've got to remember is that at Manchester United, the pressure and the scrutiny and the intensity in what you're going to have to, how you're going to have to play and what you're going to have to deal with every single week, every single day is different to anything else. So recruitment has to be on the mental side of things as well as the physical and the ability within the player. Otherwise, you're going to get talented players coming to United and flopping. Big time. Like Rio said, we don't need quality players. We need characters right now. That's what United need. I think with Osimhen, they are buying a character. They are bringing in a real player, I think, there. And I'm not surprised that United have got him top of the list. And I think these developments are going to come in very, very quickly. If you have just joined us, welcome along to the show, everybody. This is the message that I just received regarding the situation around certain players right now at Manchester United in terms of incomings. It reads... apparently, Cunha is very close. United aren't worried about the player's side. Personal terms could be agreed as soon as next week, if not already agreed. Verada and co have meetings this weekend, and next week could be done as soon as we finish the Europa or sooner. I think if we win the Europa, Delap will want to come. So them two done before June 1st. Pre-contract agreements in place before we actually get into the transfer window. And this is the thing. This is the most common thing out of everything. You listen to what Romano just said there. These deals are not going to drag on into the latter stages of the window. They're going to be done as soon as the first week of the window opens in June. That's the big positive in all of this. United are ready. And again, like Ornstein said, like Romano said, like every other journalist has now gone on to the back of what they've said, United don't need to sell, and it doesn't matter if we're in the Champions League. Maybe in the case of Delap, in terms of just making that decision, but they're the top two, and they're the ones that United are trying to get done quickly. Also, Romano has just said, like we just said on the show a few minutes ago, if you have just joined us and missed it, that Manchester United have already contacted the representatives of central midfielder EDERSON from Atalanta, which is honestly the best news that I have heard. That is music to my ears. I've always been positive about the new football structure. We are a change club. It takes harsh decisions to change, and we have done it, and we will reap the rewards from them. That is the most positive thing that Carl, United Spotlight, is going to tell you tonight in that chat. I'm guaranteeing it right now, everybody. If Carl's impressed with the new structure, then you need to be impressed with the new structure yourself. Honestly, yeah, it is moving forward. I'm telling you, United are on the up when it comes to transfers. They really are. Let's just hope that the recruitment team get the characteristics right that Ruben needs now. James McAtee, no, I'm pooing that right now, Mano. Sorry, it's not happening. United will never buy a player from Man City. I don't care what anybody says. United are in a mix. Yeah, James Ducker of the Telegraph, who ran that story, he works the City and the United side. I think it's a click-through, to be honest. There's no way that City are letting anybody go to Manchester United unless it's Sancho via Dortmund. And McAtee is a better player than Jadon Sancho. I'll say that right now. But yeah, that is that's where that one's at, I think. Manchester United needs players with character and who can be respected. Yes, Cunha and Ornstein or Isaac. No, Delap. Delap, he's got a better chance of coming than Ornstein and Isaac. In fact, Isaac's no chance and Ornstein is also no chance. If you missed it earlier on again, Ornstein has confirmed that United again didn't go for Ornstein because of his wage structure and his demands. It is going to be upwards close to 400 grand a week wages that Ornstein is on. And United, amongst other Premier League clubs, have all turned their noses up at that and don't think he is the right character. So, yeah, that is it. Did Ornstein give a new update on Ornstein, mate? Thoughts, he said we weren't looking. Yeah, he did give an update on Ornstein, Adam. I just said it then, mate, if you missed it. United dropped out of the race for Ornstein because of his wage demands. That's basically it. That's where we're at. Yeah, exactly. 400k a week, mate. That's where he's probably getting close to. I think he'll be on $500,000 a week if he goes to the Saudi Pro League. And there was a story going around on TalkSport this morning that is a likely destination because Napoli won't want to sell to the best bidding club at the moment, which is Juventus, obviously a title rival going into next season. So I think Saudi Pro League is where Osimhen's going to end up. And sadly, we'll never see him play his trade in the Premier League, where he should be. All of the best strikers should give the Premier League a go, I think. But sadly, we're never going to see some of the best. But look, hey, can't complain. We've still got a brilliant league, and it is still the best in the world, in my opinion, anyway. Let's see what else we've got in here. Over 300 likes, by the way. Absolute legends, a lot of you. Thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Keeping you up to date with all the Man United news every single day we are live, everybody. You know it. Right, let's see what else we've got. If they get Gyökeres on cheaper money, will Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos do that deal? No, I don't think they will. I've said this morning. Anybody over the age of 26 is going to have to be a hell of a deal for United under Ineos. Mazraoui being the only signing over the age of 25 so far, and we got him for 14 million on reasonable wages. So, yeah, I don't see anybody for any value worth more than 30 million over the age of 26. I don't see United going for him. Look, I may be completely wrong. We go get Jamie Vardy at 38 on a free transfer, maybe. That's an option, isn't it? No, I'm only joking. I am only joking about that. But yeah, great career, Jamie Vardy, by the way. Just a little side conversation there for everybody. Vardy, is he a legend? I said that on Football Talks earlier on, actually. If you are obviously wondering what Football Talks is, please do go and subscribe to Football Talks. That's my other channel where I do a lot of other Premier League talk as well. It's going to be a busy old summer when it comes to all the transfer stuff. It's going to be double shows all of the time. So we're going to be getting into that as well. What happens if he drops his wage demands? What would you say? Would you sign him in wages? Sorry, say that again. If he drops his wage demands, what would you sign him for in wages, Adam? Osimhen has to fall in line. I think he's worth 250 grand a week wages, but he's not going to drop him, mate. That's the point, Henry. The reason United are not in anymore is his wages are too high, and it's just that. That's it. That is it. Cal says Vardy defo a Premier League legend. Vardy is a legend. Yeah, I think he is, isn't he? Like nearly 150 goals for Leicester. Like 140 odd, I think it was. 143 Premier League goals. Come on. For Leicester, like I said, he's won everything domestically as well, apart from the bloody League Cup. So, yeah. Go on, let Jamie Vardy. That is our show, everyone. Thank you so much. Absolute legends, a lot of you. The poll quickly. Do you think United will sign Delap? 60% of you have said yes on that poll. That's that finished up. Well over 300 likes. Well over 1,000 in a room on a busy old night. And yes, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, mods, in the live chat. Thank you to everybody who donated on the show tonight. That being Modern Samurai, Roz, obviously Wayne, and London as well. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you right and early, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, everybody. Make sure that you're there with your full update. I'm sure it is going to be a big, long summer ahead. It looks like it's starting in spring. And I'll have you covered on everything that's going on. And don't forget, Ruben speaks tomorrow as well. So, yeah, we've got the normal stuff to get through. That's like, it feels weird actually United playing this weekend, doesn't it now? Anyway, let's get back to the football. Tomorrow we'll be live 8 o'clock. I'll see you all then. Have a fantastic evening, everybody. And yeah, I'll see you all in the morning.